Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. It's time for your Sunderland versus Leeds post-match chat. Sunderland beat us 1-0 tonight. Frustrating night at the office. Leeds United did not get going after starting, for me, pretty well. Somerville had the free kick that nearly went in that Patterson saved. Can't really remember many more chances, to be honest. Obviously, the Pirro one late on that Trey Hume blocked off the line, but outside of that, it was slim pickings. Barker didn't make changes early enough again. And when we're behind, he then does like Sunday League tactics for me and says, we'll go three at the back and shove as many strikers on as possible. But then as a team, we fail to then get it out wide to put balls into the box for the free fecking attackers that you have in the centre of the pitch. We continue to just labelly pass from left to right. So that's where it goes wrong for me. You should never be in a situation where you're having to do that anyway. And listen, I really like Farke, you know this, but this reluctance to change the team mid-game before the game, use the squad. The Spence sub's a bit strange as well. I know he wants to go with a back three, but Spence is really an outlet. Spence is technically really good. You'd probably imagine maybe it's fitness or whatever, but he seemed a little bit surprised to be going off. Archie Gray had a tough night at the office, obviously, against Jack Clark. He's played on the right of that back three, but I'd have probably said take Archie off, move Spence out there, and let's see how he combines with Gnonto. Gnonto looked bright. He was the one player that when he did get the ball, he was trying to get it in the box, and we nearly scored from it. I was saying it during the stream, you've got to get it in the box when you've got three players. Why are you trying to play it narrow? Jesse Marsh tax, like left to right. Oh, let's try squeeze it through there. Just wasn't our night. Rutter wasn't on it. Pirro was non-existent. Somerville didn't have a great night. Gray had a tough night, but of course he's going to against Jack Clark. I thought he did well come the end of it. Rodon wasn't his imperious self, made a few errors, as did Ampadu. I was really impressed with Sunderland. Huggins, Trey Hume, Jack Clark, Pritchard can deliver a ball. Joe Bellingham, and also the tactics from the manager. You know, Joe Bellingham played more further forward against West Brom. Tonight he's playing deeper, and he ends up getting the goal because, again, their manager changed it a few times during the game as well. The goal's so rubbish to give away. Everyone will look at Meslier. It's point-blank range. It's tough. You know, it's 50-50. You throw your body in the way of it. Should have you done better? Yes. But Archie Gray's at fault. He gets caught napping. Everyone else steps out. Archie stays where he is. That means Joe, because I was convinced it was offside. Convinced. Then when you see it back, Archie's in no man's land. And Joe Bellingham finds the back of the net. The frustrating thing was, before we kicked off, Watford are 1-0 up. By the time we finish the game, we lose 1-0 and Ipswich have won 2-1. Any normal season, Leeds United at the top of the table. You know, we're already better off than where Burnley were last season. But the pace setters this season, it's crazy. We're 10 points behind Ipswich now. Oh, my God. Daft Bollocks here said we'll be top two by January. Could still happen, but it's looking slimmer and slimmer as the weeks go. Let's not rewrite history, though, because a lot of people do that on the stream. Leeds United don't have the best attack in the league. Well, are we going to forget all the goals and assists they've got? They do. As a four-piece, they are the best. For me, in my opinion, football's about opinions. Say that Farke's a poor manager. Let's not forget he's won this league twice. Of course, he's not exempt from criticism. At times, do I think he gets things wrong? Yes, but no one's infallible. Of course you get things wrong. You get things wrong. I get things wrong. Pep Guardiola gets things wrong. Man City get things wrong. Now, I'm not comparing us, but I'm just saying, if the elite can get it, then so can Leeds United, who are a championship side currently. I've seen a little tweet from Joe Donoghue on Twitter, and he made a good point. He says, this should be the perfect fuel for not being in the playoffs, because that type of game is what you'll get in the playoffs. Tight, dogged, defensive, and then, you know, you can be done by a sucker punch like that, which is what that was. You know, in the second half, we were better for me in the second half in terms of controlling the game, having much more of the ball than we were in the first. Sunderland were better. You know, it was like a tale of two halves within that first half. Leeds shaded it, then Sunderland shaded it. I was really worried second half. I'm thinking, wow, Clark looks amazing. Pritchard looks really good. Neil. Defensively, they were great as well. Ballard was really good. Luke O'Nien. Their fullbacks are great. One of them, we're crying out for a left back. One of them's there, right, at Sunderland, beating us tonight, having a great game in Niall Huggins. The other's top of the table. Top assists in the league. Couldn't write it, man. Couldn't write it. Look, I thought Spence did well out there. And I think Spence and Somerville will combine really well. And in them first 10, 15 minutes, they did do that. But like I say, Sunderland over the course of the 90 minutes deserve it. Yeah, they put everything into it, and Leeds United just persisted in doing the wrong things. You know, Joe's messaged and said, like, Joe, this was the point I was making on the final word about the tempo and the pace and that. And you can see that because there was none, especially when the subs were made. It was very back to front, left to right, blah, 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 blah. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't great. Even when we went back to Strauch and to Rodon, it was just laboured. There was no pace, there was no zip. And everything was in front of Sunderland tonight, especially in the second half. Everything was in front. We didn't try and get him behind. The one player that did was Nonto. The one player that did was Nonto. And when we did find him and he did beat his man or he did try whip one in, we looked like we could create something. And that's what you need to do in them dying embers of the game. But for whatever reason, we continue to do it. I think some of us sometimes can be a bit too greedy. But listen, I can't bemoan him because he's our top scorer. You know, he's flying right now. He's one of, if not the best player in the division. So we can't rewrite history. Leeds United have lost. Now, on another day, you said, you know what, we've won 9 in 11 or what is it, 9 in 12? I don't know. It's great form. And in any other season we're top. It just so happens that we're in a fucking league where you've got 2 runaway teams. And Ipswich don't look like they're dropping. Which, it's not great, is it? I'm absolutely wounded about that fact. But it's sod's law. It's Leeds that. What more do you expect? We are now in a stage where we have to hope and pray. You know, we have to hope and pray. The mad thing is last week when we beat Blackburn, it was cut to 4 points before Ipswich played. It's now 10 points. If you don't laugh, you'll cry. It's rough out there. It's rough. But what we do need to do is get to a stage where Farke's able to work out teams when they do sit in, that we don't just go, do you know what, let's just throw every attacker we've got on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? Because Sunderland, when they did go in front, they defended resolutely. I would go as far as to say that Dodds at Sunderland definitely outdid Farke tonight. And they might be looking at Will Still, but there's a shout for him to be getting the job. 2 wins against West Brom and Leeds is no joke. To be honest, though, over the course of the 90 minutes, we didn't deserve it. We didn't create enough. We didn't play well enough. And to be honest, they should have had a penalty as well. That's a penalty that they got. So Sunderland deserve it fully. Not taking anything away from them. Leeds United were not good, not at the races. And I would argue, let's mix it up now. Let's change something for Saturday. I know I'm not saying like throw it all in the bathwater with the baby or whatever that saying is, but let's give some other players some chances. You know, let's use this squad. Let's stop persisting with only making changes after a certain time for certain personnel. Let's be a little bit more thought out when it comes to changing in game, you know, instead of just throwing it, because that's what's really frustrating for me. It's like, oh, is that what we're going to do? Yeah, it was the same against Middlesbrough. I said it at the time, you know, 2 things will happen. He'll wait till we're in front or he'll throw everyone out. Do you know what I mean? And it's getting a little bit predictable now. Because just throwing all your attackers in doesn't mean you can then break down a low block, because that's what it was in the end, and we failed to do so. Not a great day at the office. 10-point gap now. It's a long way to go. Big props to my man Melier for the great save as well. Exceptional save. Let's not blame him for the goal. Look, Archie Gray's off. Catalogue of errors as always. But listen, we move. Not a great night at the office. Rectify it on Saturday against Coventry. Make sure you join me for tomorrow for Millwall versus Leicester. And of course, the final word at 10 o'clock, which will prove to be quite interesting. Looking forward to it. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you in a bit. Peace out. Leeds, Leeds, Leeds.